All right, so the recording is on. And then also, so everyone is aware, as always, you look great this morning. And we're using Fireflies as well to take our notes as usual. And then please also be aware that we will have Sabine Martin from the Wisconsin State Journal, one of their amazing reporters. She asked to join this meeting, so she should be popping in at any moment to support with getting the communication out to our community on the great work you all are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and mute. I'm going to call Shahana and see if she needs an absentee ballot.
And I believe Sabine was on the call last night with Elvium as well. So, okay. So, good morning, everyone. This is the official, I believe, last of the Lindbergh Citizens Renaming Committee, where we will be taking our vote. So, fresh or not, we're plowing forward. It is the week of voting, of course. If you don't have the agenda around, you can see that Chelsea just put it in the chat. So thanks to Chelsea as always. Chelsea's had a week or so here, boy. That girl has been working hard, and the chairs have been working as we figure out the whole voting system and all. So she can't hear us, but kudos to Chelsea once again. As you know, this morning's session is being recorded. It is transcribed, and it'll be on there's Sabine Martin from the Wisconsin State Journal. Welcome, Sabine. This is our committee.
Thank you. Sorry,
You
I'm
know,
late.
here. We have a full quorum here. Dr. Goss is the principal of not for long named Lindbergh Elementary School. And Gail Martinson is our researcher, and the rest of the folks, other than Firefly and Chelsea, are members of our committee, are dutiful members of our committee. So we all remember the Zoom norms. Everybody's got their first and last names up. Thank you very much. And I'll wait for Chelsea to come back to the roll, and then we'll continue with that as we continue this morning. Excuse me while I move over to my agenda on my other thing. I guess I can call the roll. Betsy Abramson is here. Kanisha Crump, Diamond Thomas, Evangeline Swanson.
Present.
Okay. Fred Gantz.
Present.
Katie Hull. Mary Heimbecker.
Present.
Nan Youngerman.
Present.
Robert Roth.
Present.
Thank you. Shahanik McKinney Balden. Tiffany Teedy.
Present.
Can you pronounce it Tiffany Theedy or Teedy?
It's Theedy.
Okay. Tyrone Davis Jr. Cynthia Moore.
Present.
Thank you. And Ken Stancer. Okay, we do have a quorum, so we're able to move forward. Do I have a motion and second to approve today's agenda, which will be, as you know, discussing the latest entries into our comments section and explanation of how we'll be voting, a practice voting, and then 2 rounds of voting, one to get us down to 8 and one to get us down to 4, and various announcements. Do I have? Thank you, Fred, for the motion. Do I hear
I second.
that sound like Mary, who was the second? Thank you. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Raise hand.
Aye.
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 Ayes have it and are good to go on the agenda. For the public comment, there was is as every MMSD meeting of any variation, there's an opportunity for the public to actually appear by Zoom and comment during this open period for the public. There was somebody registered for Elvium, and there's somebody registered for Chavez, which is meeting next Monday, but there is nobody who was registered for us. So the written comments received by the district. Last week, we went through I don't know how many there were. I believe about 50 different comments. I mean, sorry, more like 75 or 80 different comments across the proposed names that we had. And since then, we told you not to get too set in your positions at all, because we had at that point, that was last Wednesday morning, and we had until the end of Thursday, I think, Chelsea gave enough grace that people could have until midnight on Thursday night to put in comments. And there were 5 more comments put in for Lindbergh Elementary School. Did everybody see those? Those were in the comment of the big, huge spreadsheet. The ones that she had underlined with a yellow on the bottom were the new ones. Can you raise your hand if you're able to see those? Okay, so it looks like everybody saw. Fred, did you see those?
I didn't see those.
Okay. Well, when Chelsea comes on, we will show those to you. There were 5 more comments that came in. They were all supporting Jeff Erlinger. Very consistent with the past ones we had. Chelsea, I took the roll and put it on the agenda. And I was saying that we'd had 5 comments. If you could maybe, Chelsea, if I could ask you to put up on the screen, Fred being out east and have a chance to see those. The 5 more comments, they were all from Jeff in support of Jeff Erlinger. As I recall, one was from a woman named Eva Schifrin who had no comments but supported him. There was a very long one from Dr. Bill Schwab, who was a personal friend of Jeff that all of them were, of course, worth reading. There was one from Mitchell Hagopian, an attorney from Disability Rights Wisconsin, who had known him and talked about the value of having a person with disabilities and a kid. There was one from Daryl Benke, who I believe is also an attorney. And also he talked about how much he many of the same points, and he just loved the motto of good luck reading that, Fred. And he talked about
fine.
The value of having
And Betsy and Fred, I did drop it in the chat too, Fred, if
I
you want
see
to
it,
click
and
on the
thank
link in
you.
the chat. Yep.
Yep.
and I'm looking to see who I forgot. Eva Schifrin, Mitch Agopian, Bill Schwab.
And Daryl Benke is the other one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I still think I forgot one, but anyway, they were all about
Oh,
many.
Janet Periano.
Yeah, Janet Perino, who some of you may recall had been like chief of staff to Mayor Dave Chislevich. So those were the 5, all worth reading, as were all of them. Also, I really appreciated, and I'm going to ask Chelsea to go through this at some point. Chelsea counted up the number of people who had proposed various names and the number of people who commented on the various names. I want to point out to the committee that that's not the vote, how many people proposed or how many people commented. It shows us it's one more data point on, the community's engagement. I think it speaks very well of the community. There was so much engagement, and Chelsea, who's a veteran of other communities, each of those. There's been more engagement on this round of this summer of 2026, or as I call it, the summer of school renamings, and than there has been in the past. Chelsea, I don't know if you wanted to say anything more about that. And again, I want to point out to you on the agenda on page 14, remind you of the 11 commitments that we made in joining this committee. So most importantly, of the anchoring ourselves in policy 6700. I do want to make a clarification, although I think maybe this was yours to make, Chelsea, but I don't know that it matters. There was some confusion amongst the chairs about which of the versions of 6700 was in play for us. And a key element of that was a version that is not applicable right now, says that each committee is to make up to 4 recommendations for to the school board, 2 of which have to be human beings. That provision does not apply to us. We may make up to 4 names. They could all be concepts. They could all be geographic sites. They could all be people. It could be a combination. We have no minimum of what category any of these names are. That is in one of the policies. Remind me, Chelsea, please. Is that in one of the policies that's coming, or that was in an old policy?
That's in an old policy, and that's also the policy that's more than 4 pages long. And so there was some confusion, and I want to thank my teammates, Jesse Gagan, our board secretary, and then also our legal counsel, our head of legal counsel, Maka Minchell, and then Ben Ruvers. Yes, and so only if it's a new building per this policy would it need to be two prominent names with up to four, but because we're an existing building that's just being renamed, we just have to meet the criteria. And then
Okay.
also, I just wanted to state for the record quickly, Betsy, that I made contact with Shahana. As you all know, she's a busy lady with work and this. She's filling out an absentee ballot, and then she's going to hop on as soon as she can for as long as she can to still be a part of this to a degree.
Well, thank you so much for pounding her and tracking her down. Every vote matters, right? So we are the League of School Board Renaming Voters here, and I appreciate you working on that. Great. So that will be 8 of us or 9 of us or something like that. So we'll be good then. Thank you. So yes. So with that as background, let's see. Oh, Chelsea, I'll turn it over to you at the bottom of 14. Please.
Great. Good morning, everyone. And so before I go into the updates, I did want to call on Dr. David Goss and see if there was anything he would like to say to the committee at this time before we go into the final vote. And thank you so much, Dr. Goss. As you all know, too, he's been trying to have a vacation and be a great partner and be a great parent while also navigating all these hours we've had together. So thank you, Dr. Goss.
Well, I've said this before. I appreciate you doing this. I know the hard work you've put into it. The committee chair, Chelsea, the members, thank you so much for this. I'm excited to see what we come up with, what amazing new name we get to be proud of, and then the fun of infusing that into our school and making that a part of our culture. And so I really appreciate everyone taking this serious, because it's very serious, and it's also very exciting that this is finally happening. So thank you so much, committee. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. God. We're so grateful to you for being here, sometimes in person, sometimes video ahead, but it's nice to see you in 2D and moving around, and I hope you get that vacation in, although I'm getting dubious because that school year is starting, and Chelsea, of course, hasn't had a vacation at all this summer, and I doubt that the beginning of the school year is a prime time for a school district administrator to be gone for a week. So she'll have to make the most out of her weekends when she's not counting votes anymore. Okay.
Yes, and I will say working with you all has been one of the highlights of my career. And so even though I haven't had a vacation, this work has become this work stream especially. It's fulfilled like my love of history, fulfilled my love of working with the community, working on a team as a former college athlete. And this is the right work. I'm so proud of our district. I'm so proud to be serving with you all to make something right for our community. So with that, just a couple other updates. So I did go back, and our comms team is going in the website to update. So thank you to the Wisconsin State Journal, because one of Sabine's colleagues, Tegan King, did publish an article, and I linked it in there for anyone. And Betsy mentioned it at our last meeting, in which the average to rename a building is around $30,000. So I'm making sure that that's also on the website as well, because I know we've all been fielding those comments or those thoughts. And then as we go into discussion today, I want to call on Nan, because Nan, I didn't get to send out what you sent us yet, but I'm going to be adding it to the documents. But Nan has her own audit for us. And Nan, I have to say I was with Joey Rosas on Monday, because we launched our Leadership Institute for principals, assistant principals, and key central office leaders. And I was just telling him what a pleasure it has been working with you on this committee. And you, of course, are one of his faves over at Badger Rock. And so Nan is, a veteran of this because she has supported Badger Rock since its inception as well. And Nan also had some really great insight around renaming. So Nan, could you please share what you had provided to Betsy and I, and then I'll make sure that that also transfers to our materials.
Well, folks, a little info about me. I was one of the founders of Badger Rock Middle School. And back in 2010, just a few years back, we all sat around thinking about what do we call this school we're inventing? And so we just quickly said, hey, the school exists on Badger Road and Rimrock Road. And we began to call it, for our own convenience, Badger Rock.
Huh.
And so I never correctly saw it. And I've looked at the naming explanation for it a few times and thought, that ain't what it is. And so when I saw Chelsea and Gail's comments, I sent Chelsea a note going, here's Nan's audit. And I also added a bit of history, and that was Badger Elementary School that catered to, I think, hearing impaired students was on site and needed to be demolished. And the fire department did a practice burning to demolish the school so they could proceed with construction. So that's the background as I know it from being a participant in 2010.
Wow.
There you have it.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you. At the corner of Badger and Rock, I was thinking of that book, The Corner of Bitter and Hotel at the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, or something like. But there you go, Badger and Rock. Huh. And say, welcome, Shahana. We appreciate any minute that you can give us this morning. Shahana, you're a smart cookie, so if you just whip through the agenda, we're down. I'm gonna go back up and mark that you're present. But otherwise, we have we're up to.
We're halfway through page 6, Shahana.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that, I'm going to go into our feedback metrics. So I'm going to share screen for everybody. And I did put this in the chat. Let me just put it in the chat again because Shahana's joined us and I want to make sure she can access it. So as a review, and I'm just so grateful to our chairs, Betsy, Dan, and Alder Figueroa Cole, because they were able to really support this process and making sure you all had all the information to support this final vote. And so wanted to highlight a couple things from our review of what was sent to you. And I know it's small, trying to make it bigger for y'all. So just a reminder, when we did our first round of scoring, here is where our original, it was 22, but we're now down to 21. This is where our original 21 names landed. This tab was our total feedback. And I wanted to, Betsy actually had this great call out as far as could we even see just the amount, right? Well, while we know that there are folks who some participated actively, some may not have participated through our formal channels, still it being important to think about the quantity of what public feedback has looked like. And so here you'll see for each of our final names for today's vote, how many submissions were given for these names, how many total comments these submissions received. And so this total comment is just everything that would have been through a formal process that we received throughout this time. And then the bottom graph is just another way of depicting so you can see the amount of submissions in comparison to the amount of comments we also received.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, please go ahead, Tiffany.
For the Jeffrey Clay Erlinger ones, are they just for our school? Or are they across the district for comments on his?
Great question. So this is for your school. So the name, great question, Tiffany. Oh, and we've got a friend who wants to help us vote. Love it. And so with that, what I did was because we do have shared names, I did that for all 3 schools. So it's very particular to the comments specific to your school. And so then here also our other tab, public comment 8/10/2026. This is the one that Betsy just highlighted for Fred as far as all the comments to date. This other tab that says other MMSD platforms. Thank you again to Betsy who let me know that there were folks who had given comment, but were not showing up on my spreadsheets. Come to find out that not everyone went through my form is how I was keeping this organized because we have Let's Talk, we have Peach Flyer, We have just regular old email. And so much appreciation to Jesse Gagan, our board secretary, and then also Cortasia and Ian from our comms team who helped me to do a full communications audit to see if there were comments from any other portal that I would have missed because I don't have access to those platforms. And so that's where you'll also see that there were a couple comments that were submitted to us, but not through my portal. And then also including the original language of the proposals. Again, another thing that Betsy flagged in wanting to make sure that we had to have the best decision possible. So then moving into our discussion for today, wanted to do, oh, I'm sorry, Betsy, go ahead.
Were those on the screen long enough for you to squint and see, or you had seen them before in preparation, or does anyone want Chelsea to go back and hold those a little longer while you get your triple readers out to be able to see those? Anybody
And
want
I dropped them in the chat too if you're someone who's maybe toggling between windows. But yes, please let me know if you need me to go back to something, if we even need to take a couple minutes for folks to review, whatever you all need, share.
Yeah, so I just want to point out again, there were a couple of the names that had, way bigger number of submissions and way bigger number of comments. Well, that's one data point. We're not voting for the person, the name that had the most submissions or the most comments, but please put that in your soup, stir it around, and when the soup is ready, you can decide, what those different flavors added did for you or not. But it does show you, again, really great question, Tiffany. And if you're curious, Tiffany, I believe on those same documents, you can toggle over to see what some of the other schools had. But certain of the names did seem to be even more emphasized at one school versus the other. Again, just one data point.
Yes, and so to Betsy's point, so one of the tabs actually says public comment across shared schools. So that's where you'll see what the comments were for any shared names. Robert, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to go back to the clarification we made before about the per 2019 Board of Education. Um, since this is a new name for an existing school, uh, we are not required to submit two names of people, but it does
Correct.
say we are required to meet the naming criteria established by the board or the policy, which I take to be the rubric that we're filling out. But I just want to make sure that I understand that correctly.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
to be submitting either names, any number of the up to four that we can submit have to be names of prominent deceased individuals or geographic sites or geographic landmarks and or widely held concepts. And I feel 100% strongly that at this point in the process, I can assure you that all 21 of the names that are still up for consideration today meet those criteria. So we have no, I'm looking at my desk, coffee, pencil, and telephone are not on the name. So all three of all 21 of our names do that, but we're not required to have them in, a certain number from category A or category B or category C because we're an existing building being renamed under the 2019 policy. Any more questions about that or anything so far? Okay.
All right, so before I go into the policy and rubric review, I would like to call on Gail, our amazing researcher, if there's anything that she would also like to contribute to this conversation before we go into discussion. And Gail, again, thank you so much for all the hours you have put in across all three schools.
Oh, I have picture today. No, I'm good. I have everything, and thank you. I appreciated it. It's been real fun and very interesting. So
True that.
Thank you, Gail. All right, and so as a reminder, the policy is several pages long. It's in legal speak, and I've appreciated having Betsy as my retired lawyer partner in all of this work because I am not that in training. And so thinking through our review and grounding us for our discussion and our final vote, I am gonna reshare the rubric with us because that is where the chairs and I made it more digestible in thinking through our criteria for the policy. So I'm dropping the rubric in the chat, and then I'm also going to share screen and review our guiding questions with us. That helped very much with the conversation from LBM last night and in wanting to make sure that I'm following the same process for all three schools for the integrity of the process. And so as a reminder, as we go into our final vote, the first section is where you're thinking about within the policy, basic requirements, and popular recognition. I want to name that I'm in deep thought from this process around what popular means and what prominent means. The chairs and I have talked about that since day one. What does that mean? How do you put a value on things? Knowing also we have a very diverse community with different lived experiences as far as what is popular and what is prominent. Something I want to digest with our board secretary and legal moving forward. However, for these purposes, one of the questions was how well known or historically important is this person, place, or idea? And so as we go through the names that are people, some questions to guide us through this final vote. Is this person widely known and remembered for the historical contributions under the board's rules? What makes them so special to Madison schools that we should pick them over other famous historical figures? For the names that are grounded as far as landmarks and places, is this landmark or place well established, recognized by local residents, and historically or environmentally important to our region? And then for our names for ideas, virtues, and concepts, is this idea or virtue widely respected, long lasting, deeply connected to great education, and inspiring to everyone? Our second guiding question was supporting us for our connection to the Madison community and educational value. So, how strongly is this specific name proposed? How strongly is this specific proposed name tied to the Madison Metropolitan School District? So, in regards to people, what is this person's unique connection to the Madison community that justifies choosing them over other people? For landmarks and places, what educational learning or historical value does this local site offer to Madison students? And then for ideas, virtues, and concepts, how does this virtue directly align with the district's mission, represent students, and/or represent community values? And so one of the guiding prompts I had on here, but feel free to take the discussion in any way that best supports this group. But I did get the feedback last night that when I had prompts previously, it did help with some of the committee members. So I just had one idea of a prompt. Where do we see strong alignment between community feedback, policy, our rubric, and also your lived experiences? And with that, I'll turn it over to the chair for the discussion.
Thanks so much, Chelsea. Really appreciate the reminder about that. And I love the summary question about, adding in all the public comment, our rubric, our lived experience, our discussions, and on we go. So we did this last time where we asked folks, yes, and welcome, Shahana. We did this last time where we made some observations about comments we received. By now, maybe some of you have had the opportunity to go back and look at more of the comments, think more about what we've been saying together. I know for me, I came in probably with some very lightweight thoughts, and the rich discussions that we've had here have really moved me around back and forth to the point where I'm glad I get at least 8 choices today for starters. I would also, I was wondering if anyone, to Tiffany's point, if anyone looked at some of the comments from some of the other schools. I think it was one of the last tabs on Chelsea's spreadsheet that said comments from names that went across schools. And please don't take this as lobbying. I'm not, but I was just particularly struck by a couple comments about Ada Deer that came in from that I think were on the Elvium site, comments that came in there. So comments that we saw on about a particular proposed name on our site might have also, that person might have had names on them from another site too, from another school too. And I hope you all had a chance to look at all of those. So I will stop talking there and invite anybody to start our discussion who wants to say something more. Again, please don't tell us who you plan on voting for or who's rising to the top with you, but tell us, Fred, but tell us more about what your thinking is and factors and leanings and ahas that you've had, and particularly if something popped out at you in some of the comments or your recollections from our discussions last week that are really stuck in your head in a good way and are have taken up a rental space that you think might help the rest of us. Would anyone like to share a comment or two?
I got a question.
Okay,
Do we know how many, because I don't see it represented, how many people said we want to name something but not after a person?
Thanks for asking.
Did we have a total tally of that somewhere?
No, I did not do a total tally of that exact comment. I did not think to do that because our policy still states that this is part of our process. Um, but I can do a tally of that after today, just also to help inform the board. But it's also interesting, I think, when we look across the total tallies for the names that were proposed and just seeing the total amount as things that are landmarks as opposed to a person's name too. So, but
Yeah.
great question, Tiffany. Thank
I
you.
was just wondering.
I don't, did anybody here have a sense of it? As I think we discussed last time, those voices were, I don't want to say this in a negative way. They were kind of loud. They were curt, like, stop doing this. And so it's kind of like for me, when I used to give presentations at conferences, I'd say, great, great, great. And then there'd be two that said, that sucked. And those were the only two that I'd remember, because they were so outliers. I'm not going to say this, Sabine, for reporting purposes, but my wild guess, if you made me guess, was it was under 12, I would say. I don't know. Anybody else have a wild guess? And that was out of, what would you say was the total number of comments we got? Well, when in Lindbergh, we got about 75, more than that, maybe, comments. Do you have a sense of that, Chelsea, from the comment page? How many?
We'll do the math right now as we're talking about it. So total comments. We had a total of
We should have known that. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay.
No, just wondering. My bad. Sorry.
No, there's no need to apologize. These are great questions, and this is why I'm here. So we had a total of 71 comments.
Okay.
And of those 71, 25 comments were for Jeffrey Clay Erlinger, and 19 were for Song Q. 2 were for Willa Beatrice Brown, 2 were for Ada Deer. And then from there, just also flagging the ones that are not people's names. So for example, Northland Elementary, there was 1, Northport, there was 1. And then the other ones too, as far as the whole chunk names we were thinking of, there was around 1 comment for those 2. And so, but I will still do a tally of that, Tiffany. I think that still is a great question.
Tiffany, are you wondering about that for purposes today before you vote?
Hold on. Sorry. Wrong button. I was just curious. Like, I can go through while we're talking and count too. I was just wondering, I know there was a strong presence of that, and I was just wondering about how many out of all of the ones we got said, "Hey, I'm all about renaming, but not a person, because we don't want to have to do this again." So
Tiffany, let me do this. I'll do the counting. You stay immersed in this rich discussion with your colleagues, and then as of now, we would not be doing this again. I want to name that for the group, right?
No,
So
yes.
And I want to help assuage that anxiety too. And I also want to name this as the public will be seeing this meeting, right? we've done great work as far as going back. Luckily, we have our expert in Gail. We even made the very difficult decision last week to remove a name of a person from our list because we don't want to have to do this again, right? And so I do want to assuage that anxiety also to our community in this recorded meeting, letting them know that there's been so much due diligence. But I'm going to go back through and do the counting so you can stay in the discussion. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Chelsea. Other comments that, you can repeat something that you last week after rethinking it more and reading more comments, you continue to feel something, or your head's kind of going in a couple different directions. Anything you want to share with the group, including, as Tiffany just modeled for us, a question that you have that you'd like Chelsea, me, or the rest of the group to reflect on or find an answer to.
Betsy, Mary and I both have our hand raised. I'm not sure if you can see.
Can't. Okay, Robert, go first, and then Mary. Thank you. Thanks for that, Robert.
Sure. So I have three comments. One to piggyback off of what Tiffany was just saying, and then two about specific name suggestions that I've been researching a bit more. I do think Tiffany's point about the comments about uh, nominations for people specifically, given the information that we've been talking about this morning from the board policy and the finances involved are factors that may influence our decisions. So I just want to name that. That's new information. I do think throughout this process, I've been under the assumption that we had to submit two names of people. And now that that's no longer a requirement, it is changing how I'm thinking about this. So um, just to put that into words for myself. And then in terms of two other names that I was just doing more reading about, thinking about the criteria that we have, and I think I said last time, I think we have, a list of names that, and Betsy was saying this before, they're all amazing names. It's just now we have this rubric where we're really thinking about prominence and popularity and kind of ambiguous terms that we have to think critically about. And with that in mind, I was rereading about Willa Beatrice Brown. I didn't, in the research that I was doing and what was provided, see a very clear connection to Madison, Wisconsin, despite the aviation schools. And I wasn't aware of that last time. So I just wanted to lift that or highlight that. And I think the comments about Jeffrey Erlinger have been pushing me to really think about the popularity and prominence piece and how folks who are at the school would talk about it with students. And I think what I'm struggling with is the television appearance being on Mr. Rogers, um, and being a disability advocate, trying to make sense of that alongside of the other accomplishments and work that some of the other folks in our list have done is something I'm still grappling with. And I am still struggling to see that as, I guess, on a rubric getting to like the highest level of popularity or prominence. So I'm curious to hear more about that. But I just wanted to share those thoughts.
And so
Thank
I
you.
want to flag in the chat in regards to Jeffrey Clay Erlinger. Shahana did put in the chat, he was also an elected official for Madison. And what I'll also remind the group as well, because the conversation went the same way last night for Alvium. As a reminder, you all are not ultimately making the decision, right? So you are rising up to 4 names for the board to then make the ultimate decision. So I think that also helps with the pressure that you're feeling. And then I do want to let everyone know that Alvium did end up with a finalist of 4. They felt like 4 was a great breath, exactly to some of the reasons you're speaking to, Robert, as far as knowing that there's varied experiences, there's diverse perspectives within our community. So how do we have an all-encompassing list? And that's all I had. And I see Betsy's also added in the comments for Jeffrey Clay Erlinger, served on several city committees and commissions, the economic something or another, and then disabilities and transportation and others. Thank you. Mary.
Yeah, Mary, want to unmute
Sorry, I was
yourself?
having trouble getting to my mute button. Yeah, I was just gonna say I read through all the comments and I'll wait for Chelsea's true count of that. But I remember seeing 3 to 4 people possibly saying do not name it after a person in the comment sections. Um, right around there. I didn't think it was a bunch of people. And that was all. So I'll wait to see what Chelsea discovered for us. Yeah, thank you.
And so with
Thanks.
that, Mary, great segue. So I just ran it just for my form for written statements and public comment in the hearing, okay? I did not run it for the original name proposals. I'm going to link this in the agenda as well. But based on just our form for public comment, written statements, public hearing, there were 92 comments that explicitly state or express the sentiment that public schools should not be named after a person out of a total of 355 comments. So this represents approximately 25.92% or 26% of total comments. So I'm also going to put that in our detailed agenda, so you have that as well. But that's just based on the form as we've been going through this process. So 25% of total comments were asking not to be named after a person, which is 92 out of 355 total comments.
So was that just for Lindbergh or was it district or for all three of us?
I did it for district-wide.
Okay.
Yeah. I can delineate between the three. I also just want to be a
No,
couple things.
that was good. Like,
okay,
that's
good.
great. That's all the more I
me,
wanted.
And you know me, I love data. I'm happy to go as deep as y'all want me to go.
But that's kind of what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Because I also want to name it's 948. And so, and just to be clear too, that LVM ran over last night because the conversation was so rich. This is my priority. I don't know what everybody else's availability is. I'll stay on as long as we need to. And if you all want me to go that deep, it is going to delay some of our other processes.
And Chelsea, I just want to point a clarification. Those 92 that said, please don't name it after person, you're not counting the people who picked a geographic site or concept. These are specifically said, please don't name it after a person.
Correct. These were people who just said, don't name it after a person, and that's all they said.
Got it. Okay. All right. Any other conversation or discussion, re-emphasizing something that was said last week, further thought, how your mind is twisted now? Poor Robert was headed in one direction. Now that he finds out they don't have to have 2 people, we can all do what we want. Any other conversations? I'll pause for a minute. Even the parrots are quiet, so that tells me that we are ready to move. Okay, so
Sorry, can I just ask a clarifying question?
Please go ahead, Robert.
How many names are we required to submit? I know we just said LVM did 4, but is there a minimum, a maximum?
You can submit up to 4. So 4 is the highest amount we can submit.
Submit just one. I know Chavez was talking earlier this week that they thought they might just go with 3. They don't know.
Oh, and let me clarify. We wouldn't submit 1 because then that takes and again, in processing in real time, that takes away the board vote. And so it would be really 2, right? Because ultimately the board is making the decision. If we only submitted 1, then we're telling the board what to do.
And one question, which just flew out of my mind. Oh, what happens if, as the board decides, they take school number 1 and say, oh, we're picking the one like Ada Deer is shared among all 3 schools. If the second school has Ada Deer, that becomes a non-choice for them. How does that work?
So that actually goes into our process review. And so that is our next piece, Nan. You guys do a great job of getting me ready. I'm like on deck for you all as you hit these home runs. And so if we could close out with the chair and just any other discussion points, and then I'm happy to go into the process review where I'm going to be going over that piece, Nan.
Okay, any other comments about this or a question that you want to tee up for Chelsea as we move along? And after that, I'm not trying to slow us down at all. After we get to that, just so you know what's coming for today, we're going to do a practice vote using our fancy new little Google document. We're going to do a practice vote that on using ice cream flavors, just so you learn how to put the numbers in and all. Then we're not going to tally those. We're just going to take a look to make sure everybody did just 8 and whatever the thing. And then after that, we're going to take our 21 and you can make up to 8 votes and then we'll have a little break while Chelsea and I go into our secret breakout room. I'm her court observer or her, observer. And then we'll come back and tell you what the 8 were and then a little discussion if warranted, and then we'll vote for 4. Have a little break while we're tallying up the 4, and then we'll come back and do those 4. Any further discussion, and we'll close out. So that's what we're hoping to get to starting around 10 o'clock. So Chelsea, I'll get it. Oh, sorry. Any other discussions or anything you wanted to tee up to ask Chelsea to address during her?
Angie has her hand raised.
And I might have missed this. It sounded like LVM came up with their list of 4 names. What are those 4 names, please?
I'm going to be going into that next. So thank you,
Oh,
Angie.
perfect. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let me just check one thing for Shahana. Thank you, Shahana. Let me see what
I
happens.
think hers and ours have
Oh, so
more than
Shahana, yep. So Shahana, the absentee ballot, you will be ranking all 21. You would not be ranking 8. And so let me go through the process and then we'll go into the next piece. So let me, because Shahana, you have to get off soon. So yep, let's go right to the process.
Okay.
So everyone, thank you again so much for your graciousness and patience, as this has been a new work stream for me. This has also been entirely new for the district, doing at 1.2 schools at once. Now it's 3 schools at once, where again, before it had been 1 at a time for at least a year or 2 years. And our original platform that I had went through with district reps and then also our chairs, Mentimeter, would have made this a very seamless process. However, that was not approved and we were not spending the money on it. And so the great thing is that to our taxpayers, I found a platform that is approved that's free. So we're not spending any more money towards this process. However, I do want to make sure that we go through the process because it's a little different. And so we're doing a board account, and I linked in exactly what that means, but we'll be using a ranking system. And then I've also included our scoring guide. So I'm going to share screen and show you how the scoring guide works. And so with the exception of the absentee ballot, everyone else, you would be ranking your top 8 choices. And then those choices would then be equated with numbers. And then the sum is going to help us to determine which 8 are moving forward. And then down here, which 4 will move forward. And I do have this linked in page, and I'll also link it in the chat for people. I have it linked on the top of page 6. And I'm going to link it here in the chat if you don't want to scroll all the way down. And then I did send a video as far as how the scoring went. It was not the exact form, but it was the layout so that you could see it. I'm going to share screen here. And so here is our process. We'll be going into round 1, in which we're right now in our discussion. And then you would be voting up to your top 8 out of your 21. Then I will go into a 15-minute recess in which I'll be working on the rankings with Betsy. Then we will reveal our top 8. We'll go into our second round of discussion for then voting up to our top 4. We'll go into another 15-minute recess in which Betsy and I determine the rankings. Then you'll discuss the top 4, and the discussion will be, do we want to submit 4? Do we want to submit 3? Do we want to submit 2 out of this list? I do want to name for the top 4. They will be in alphabetical order. They're not going to be based on score order. It came up in LVM last night where folks wanted the rank to be submitted to the board. That is something that I need to touch base on between our board secretary and legal, because technically if we tell them what our number 1 rank is, it's essentially also taking the vote away from them, right? And so I understand people's desire to want to have the rankings. I just want to double check on these things so that I don't make it difficult for our board to be able to fill out their obligation. For our absentees, so because our absentees are not here for round 1 and round 2, they will be actually ranking all 21 as far as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. They're doing that because then I will be folding in their scores for both rounds so that their votes still count. Now, the next part of the process that I know folks were asking about, we do have a tiebreaker process that is halfway through page 7. I'm not going to go in detail about that because if we get to that bridge, I'll go into detail about it, but we do have a process and that's right there. So again, thank you to our chairs for helping us to figure that out. Dan, our chair from LVM, had already been thinking about tiebreakers. We actually had 2 tiebreakers last night. And so it was great that we had thought ahead in that. We will go into our practice, but a couple things I wanted to name that came up in the conversation. At this time, I am providing rankings for shared names that might be across schools. So right now I'll show you the final list for LVM, and then that will help go into our discussion around what this will look like. So right now, LVM, and again, this is in alphabetical order. The 4 names that they voted on last night for submission to the board are, let me make it bigger, Ada Deer, Capital View, Jeffrey Clay Erlinger, and Stephanie A. Bernard. Those are the 4 names that are going to submission. Ada Deer is across all 3 schools, as is Jeffrey Clay Erlinger. So, for example, if Chavez picked Ada Deer and you all picked Ada Deer, I will then share the ranking to the board as far as where that fell. So if Ada Deer is number 1 for Chavez, number 3 for Elvium, and number 2 for Lindbergh, the board will know that because I feel like that will help inform them as far as what they're hearing from the committee and the community to know which school would maybe get preference for that name based on all the feedback and that ranking. Okay, so let me just explain that again. So if Jeffrey Clay Erlinger was picked across all 3 schools, it could be number 1 for Elvium, number 2 for Chavez, and number 4 for Lindbergh. The board would know where it landed within those schools to help inform their decision.
And Chelsea, I'm not going to swear on this, but I, as I recall, and maybe some of you who are more school engaged than me, when Gillespie was, when Jefferson and Memorial were recently renamed, I recall the board getting a couple of names for each of them with knowing that the committee had voted, what the committee's first choice was. And I don't even recall whether the board went with that first choice, but I do remember them. And again, I could be making this up, but I thought the board received them with a ranking. And whether
So
that, whether that,
yeah, so
whether
Betsy,
that,
I don't think you're making that up because Gail has the same recollection as well because that came up last night. And so I don't think anybody's wrong about that. I want to double check with the board secretary because in putting myself in someone else's shoes, in us giving a number 1 to the board, and then if I were a board member and I didn't go with the number 1, I just want to make sure that on my end, I'm setting everybody up for success for this to go over well with the community. But
right.
I definitely have already let our board secretary know that there is a desire for the board to know the full ranking for all 4 names. And so her and I are going to connect on that ASAP.
Yeah.
Okay.
100% better to keep it on the down low until, once you announce it, no getting it back in the bag. So
Yeah.
let's wait to do that until we are told that that's what the board wants or needs, and that's consistent with policy. Whether it was in the past or not, may not be what it is now, but thanks. Let's keep it in the bag for now. All right. Any questions about what Chelsea has gone over in terms of how we're going to rank and the tiebreaker, or are we ready to practice? No questions? All right, Chelsea, we're hungry for ice cream.
Yes, and before we go into the ice cream, I just want to quickly check in with Shahana because I know she has limited time. Shahana, are you good on the absentee ballot, or is there anything you'd like for me to talk through with you?
I think I'm good on it. I'm
Okay.
going to see if I can get out of my other meeting because I would much rather not do the absentee ballot if that's allowed. still
Absolutely.
on this side.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna check
absolutely.
and see. It's a
Yeah,
little bit overwhelming to
it
think of,
is to look at all
yeah,
21. Yep,
all
it is.
21 and do it. Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
is. Oh, and
Okay.
Angie has a hard stop at 11. Great. So we're going to continue to move through. And so what we'll do, Shahana, is you're going to check in with your employer, and then I'm going to text you and let you know when we're going into the vote, because if for some
Thank
reason you
you.
can't get out, then I do need the absentee so that I
Yes,
make sure your vote is counted. Okay?
very good. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. All right, everybody, let's go into practice. And we're going to be determining, and I'll drop it in the chat, the favorite flavor for Lindbergh. Thank you to Betsy who came up with this great practice option. David, this could maybe inform some back to school planning for some of the ice cream you want to do. So I just dropped it in the chat. So if everyone could please click on that, and then I am going to share screen and just go over it with us too. All right, sharing screen now.
Let me open it because I already voted yesterday when we were practicing. So
Yeah, you did. Yeah. It's okay though. All right, so here's our renaming vote for ice cream. So you would put in your email, you'd put in your first and last name. Let me make it bigger for everybody.
yes,
And
please.
then you would be making affirmations on how your voting has been informed. This is very similar to our acknowledgement form and how we voted the first time. So affirming that you've reviewed community feedback, affirming that you are voting in line with the policy, affirming that this is your vote and you've ranked your choices in true order, and then also that you're ranking 1 through 8. So for example, here are the ice cream choices, and there's 10 choices. And so what you will see me do is I'm going to rank for each column, and these are columns, you can only have one selection, okay? If you accidentally do more than one selection, the columns won't allow you to do that. And there's a double check in the bottom. If you do make a mistake, I have oversight of everyone's scores. Remember, I'm the only one who does. And so I can also see if you made a mistake. So chocolate chip cookie dough was actually my favorite. So I am marking that as number 1. And then from there, I'm just going to quickly mark the other ones so that we can move this along. Black cherry, I'm going to scroll down. I'll make coffee number 5, cookies and cream 6, mint chocolate chip, even though that's really my number 2, I'm making it 7. And then pistachio is number 8. Okay. So this is exactly what you'd be doing for the names.
So you
Then,
notice that
oh, go ahead, Betsy.
there's actually 12 flavors up there. So 4 of your rows are going to be empty. And before you hit submit, you're going to scroll up and down and up and down and see, I only have 1 per column. Because Chelsea, you can show how if you remove one of yours and made 2 of them fifth choice or something, this form unfortunately lets you do that. See there? So we don't want that to be what your form looks like at the end. So that's why I'm saying before you hit submit, make sure that each column only has 1 orange dot and that 4 of your rows are blank because you can only vote for 8. We intentionally in this practice put in more than 8. So you would practice saying, 4 of them have to be left on the cutting room floor. I only get 8. So you're going to make 8 dots, 1 in each row and following. So obviously you can, I shouldn't say obviously, however you want to do it. You can do from 8 to 1, you can do from 1 to 8, you can do 1, 3, 5, 7, then go fill in 2, 4, 6, 8, however you want it. But at the end of this, before you hit submit, you're going to scroll up, look, 1 dot in each column.
And so an idea that can help, because you all do have the most amount of names to pick from, which is 21. It's a lot of scrolling. I'm not able to freeze the columns or rows like I have been able to on the spreadsheet. So it is a lot of up and down, to Betsy's point. What some folks did last night, and also when I tried it out, I wrote down what my top ones were, and then they will be in alphabetical order still. So then it would just be you going up and navigating. Robert, I see you have a question.
Yeah, I was just thinking, isn't there a way to format a Google form so that it will tell you if you've chosen first choice 2 times and an error comes up?
So not for this way. I've been playing with these formulas in Google Form for a week now, Robert. So not unfortunately, no, that's where I wish I could have used Mentimeter because it was just done. But the great thing is I can see everyone's spreadsheet. So if for some reason someone does make a mistake, I'll just message you privately and let you know. But yeah, Robert, I definitely tried. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Nan?
that's
I
why I go
Oh,
ahead,
I
Nan.
was just gonna say, I just made, oh, I didn't want to show my list. I just made a list, a written list, as you
Yeah,
suggested, so
yeah,
that I could go over it and
yeah,
stick with my top 8.
Yeah,
yeah.
and to your point, Robert, Chelsea, if you could go down to the bottom of the screen,
Yep,
very bottom where you do your last affirmation, it
yeah.
says, I reviewed my selections above and confirm that I've ranked a complete set from first through eighth without skipping any ranks or selecting duplicate ranks. So it's on you. And then Chelsea saying, whoops, you tried, but oops, you made 2 number 3s or something like that. But there are systems, they cost money at this point. The school district couldn't figure out how to purchase it or whatever, not in the budget, et cetera, et cetera. We had a couple people offering to make generous donations to the school district to buy us Mentimeter. So poor Chelsea, night and day and night. At least now she's sinking ice cream in her sleep and not school names. But so that's what it is. Any
Mhm.
questions about that, or do people think they can work with this? Please say yes, please say yes, please say yes.
And if
Yes.
you're not and we are going to have to work with this because I have tried every way, but if you're someone who needs support, I'm happy to support you with this too. Um, and then also I'll add too is then you would click submit, and then I would get everyone's rankings. Robert, did you have another question? I see your hand is up.
Oh, no, sorry, I forgot to put it down.
That's okay, no worries. All right, so with that, we're going to do our practice. And so if you can click on the link and I'll put it in there again, if it's not already up for you, you're going to vote for your ice cream. This is a super important vote because I am going to be writing Ben and Jerry's and the chocolate shop and Michael's frozen custard and being like, my committee deserves a treat. They spent all these hours with me and with public comment. Let's give them some ice cream. So go ahead and go in there and vote. I'm going to put 10 minutes as a timer for you to do
I,
this
I don't
vote.
think I don't think
Okay,
anybody.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Thank you, Betsy. Betsy's like, no, no, no. She wants to get to the meat and potatoes. All right. So 5 minutes for the ice cream vote. And then I'll show you all what that looks like, and then we'll go into the real vote. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
And feel free to go off video if you'd like to during your voting time.
right. And don't agonize. This is just the practice one. Agony comes next.
Chelsea, I understand you're going to put this on our screen.
No, she put it in the chat
In the
that you
chat.
in the chat right underneath no unless you would like.
Okay.
But Fred, I can also email you the link directly so you have that if that's helpful.
Well, I should be able to get it in the chat. Yeah, I've got it.
Okay.
Thank
Every,
you.
everybody in, please speak up if you aren't able to download or open up the Google Doc that should have 12 ice cream flavors that you are now picking 8 of.
Yeah, I'm not able to open that up. I don't know why that happened, but it says sign in, use your Google account.
So Fred, let me send it to you directly and let's see what happens.
Okay.
So you should be seeing an email pop up directly. And I wonder if this might be that Google issue we've been running into. And then
Right.
we'll figure out a different way for you to do it.
Okay.
And great news, Shahana got permission to miss her work meeting, so she'll be with us the whole time. Yay.
I don't know, should I go back?
And then Betsy, while everyone's doing this 5 minute, 3 minute break, I just need a quick bio break. So I'll be right back.
Have fun.
And anyone else who needs a bio break, feel free.
This isn't practice. Yeah, I can do it here. I think.
Quiet, Fred.
Okay, I think you can do it here now. Oh, but this is buttered pecan. This is chocolate chip
Do
cookies.
you want to put yourself on mute? Thank you. Thank you.
Hey Fred, I'm not seeing yours. Are we running into that issue with the security settings for Google again for you? Is that what we think it is?
I'm not sure. I sent it to you. I did it on my cell phone
Okay, let me see what pops up then.
and was able to do it on my cell phone and reviewed and submit it and sent it in.
Great, let me refresh. And Fred, is that your amazing wife next to you?
It is.
Hi, it's so wonderful to meet you in person.
Hi. I'm just technical support.
Always known as my
Absolutely.
technical support.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, Fred, it's still not coming up for me. Did you hit submit, correct? And did you get a response saying it's been submitted and you got your scores back?
And do you not have a computer there, Fred?
I do have a computer with me, but it's on a it's the Quarles is not compatible with Zoom, but I switched it to fred.gantz@outlook.com, which is compatible. So I don't know why it didn't go through.
So let's do this really quick, Fred. Read that email for me again.
Fred.gantz at Outlook.
At outlook.com.
At outlook.com. Okay. You're going to see something come through your email right now.
Okay.
Oh, it's saying that you don't have, even with your Outlook, you don't have the rights to Google. So it's something with your Outlook account. Okay, so we can do this. Let's, what we can do, Fred, is I'm going to send you actually, let me make sure I can send you a Google Doc. And you're just going to type in for me your choices, your top 8, your top 4. And then I'm going to be able to fill out the form for you based on your choices. I had to do
Okay.
that yesterday too with one of our folks who was doing absentee, but was in Romania. It was like a whole thing, you know.
That'd be
And
great.
so as long as I get yours, I can make sure it's all still counted. So
Appreciate that.
then,
Thank
of
you.
course, of course. So then let me share this doc with you, make sure it works. Let's make sure this way works. If not, we'll find another way. We always do.
He doesn't really need to do it for the ice cream. He just needs to start picking out his 8 for,
Right.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I just want to make sure he can still get this, at least the Google Doc. So Fred
Otherwise, that other doc has the list.
at
Outlook.
Outlook. Thank you. At
Outlook.com.
And then if for some reason the Google Doc doesn't work, Fred, what you can do is you can just email me too.
Okay.
But I'd rather go through the Google Doc just because it helps better
Sure.
with security settings. Okay, so look in your Outlook right now and you should have gotten a Google Doc.
Okay. Tracy? Tracy?
What?
I don't know why it isn't. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah.
I know this is not cool, but otherwise, could you send it to Tracy's email just for him to read it? You know, just looking at it.
So I could. I think he should this it did send to him though. So let's see if this way works first. Just
There it is.
Oh, good.
Is that it?
Yep.
it's labeled Fred Gantz _ 812-2026.
Yep.
Yep.
Great. And
Okay,
if you
open
click
it.
open,
Yep.
and then I should see your little emoji pop up.
No, it does same thing. It says Google.
Still won't let you? Okay, so then Fred,
Tracy, still not working.
okay, so then Fred, what we're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to email me your results, okay?
That's
So
fine.
you'll go through Outlook and
Just-
you'll yeah, it's a part of the settings for your Outlook. So Fred, what you do is you'll just send it to me via email regardless. They'll remain confidential. So send me your top 8. Then after we're done with our top 8 vote and conversation, then I'll have you send me your top 4. Okay? All right. So Tracy, we'll be okay. We'll just have him email if you want to help with that way, okay? When we get to that point. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Tracy.
We got the Google Doc.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, he's in it. Oh, so
You
Fred,
think
you
I'm
are
in it?
able to do it. All you
You're
would do
in the
is type
Google
it
Doc.
in.
Okay. Oh, great.
All right, go Tracy. All right. All
Yeah.
right. So with that, wonderful. You got a great partner there, Fred. All right.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. Thank you, though.
All right. So I'm going
Sorry
to
to be
share
holding
screen.
anybody else up.
It's okay. It's all right. It's important that all the votes count. So with that, I'm going to show you all what this now looks like just with the ice cream example, and then we're going to move on to our next piece. It is 10:19, so I want to make sure we get to the votes because we will be losing Angie at some point. All right, so create. I'm going to share screen.
Does anybody have problems figuring it out and staying in the columns and not doing 2? Work for everybody? Okay. You all checked it and you had 1 per
Yeah.
column. Great.
Everybody checked it. Everybody did a great job with it from what I'm seeing on my end. So, all right. So with that, share screen quickly. This is what it will look like for myself as I start to figure out the scores. So you'll see here is Black Cherry. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who picked Black Cherry as their first choice. And so from there, that would get a numerical score through my calculations. And then that's how we would come to our rankings of our top 8. I'm not actually going to rank these right now because of time. I'll rank them at some point as I reach out to Ben and Jerry's and Chocolate Shop. All right. So with that, free ice cream for the committee for the year.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it gets 8, the second choices get 7, the third choices get 6, etc. Then we add columns, and that's what the number is. So it's not the most first choices, it's the numerical sum that corresponds to that. All right, we're ready to vote. Any other questions, discussions about either? I think we passed it as comments thing, but about the voting process.
All right. So now I'm dropping in the chat your round 1 ballot. And if anyone is having difficulty, I'm going to put 15 minutes on as a timer or actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to do 10 minutes on, and if we need to add time, we will. And if you're having difficulty, please just unmute yourself and let me know if you need any help. But
Okay.
round 1 is in the chat, and you're able to start voting. Feel free if you'd like to go off video.
And Fred, do you need that emailed to you again?
No, I think I'm working on it. So I'm gonna, as I understand it, you only want me to send the top 8 now?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Fred, you would be sending your top 8 in that Google Doc, and I see you're in it right now. Yep. Perfect.
Yep.
Chelsea, last question. Do you
Yep.
have 8, or you may vote up to 8?
Your top 8, please. Full top 8.
So don't stop till you've done 8.
Yes. Thank you, Betsy. Great question.
All right. Silence in the voting room. I will just point out that Milt McPike is still on the list. Please do not vote for him. He should have been taken off the list. That's a wasted vote if you vote for him.
Oh, Betsy, I'm sorry about that. I can actually remove it right now. I thought I had done that. I apologize.
Okay, I just wanted people to know that.
All right, so that has been removed. Okay, sorry about that.
Well, it's not removed for those of us who already opened it.
Correct, correct. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sure. No. No. I don't know. I think maybe they can see it.
Fred, maybe put your thing on mute. Thank you.
And so I have Fred's 8. Great job, Fred and Tracy. So I'm gonna now be transferring this over to the scores. Okay, thank you, Fred. And then you should be getting a confirmation from me. Fred, I submitted your scores through the platform, and so you should have received confirmation. It looked like the confirmation went through.
That was for Rob, right?
Fred,
Okay, I also submitted, so it should go through.
thank you. Yep, I'm now going to double check. I was just getting Fred's in order. Thank you, Robert. Okay, so I currently have scores for Cynthia, Nan, Betsy, Robert, Angie, Fred, Tiffany, and Marianne. All right, and we have about 4 minutes left in case anyone needs more time. And so for our next piece, once the timer is up, we'll go into our 15-minute recess in which, and it might be shorter than that. We'll see how long it takes me, in which then I'll quickly compile the rankings with our chair, and then we'll come back for the second vote. So if you'd like to take a break now, please feel free, and then we'll let you know when to come back.
Let's just hold on, make sure we have all the voting done. We're waiting on a couple people yet, Chelsea?
So I already have it for the people who can excuse themselves are Cynthia, Nan, you, Robert, Angie, Fred, Tiffany, Marianne, and Shahana.
Okay.
So
Isn't that
that we now have the votes for everybody, correct?
all right? 10-minute
All right.
break starting. Milk them if you got them. Okay.
Great job, everybody.
Chelsea and I will go into a room on, we'll observe.
And actually, Betsy, how this worked out last night is we did not go into a breakout room because everything's recorded anyways. So what's going to happen is I'm going to share the spreadsheet with you and I'll start doing the compilations if you can double check my math.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Duplicate. Rename. All right, Betsy, the spreadsheet's coming your way. If you could please double check my math, and then I'm working on the list of our top 8,
Okay.
and then I'll share that with you next.
Okay.
All right, Betsy, and now I'm going to send you the list of the top 8 in order. All right, and that is 15 minutes. Betsy, do you need more time to review? Betsy, if you're talking, you're muted.
Nope, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then, everybody, if we could please come back. And coming back, if you could just turn on your camera so I can make sure that we're all here, please. All right, everyone, are you ready to see our top 8? And so these are our top 8, and I did put these purposely in order for us to see, but also know that there is variance as far as some folks chose this as their number 1, some folks chose this as their number 4, their number 8. All right. And our top 8 are,
May I have the envelope, please?
right? There's just too many windows too. You all know that life, right, Cynthia? Robert? All the windows. Angie? All right, so dun, da, da, da. Let me make it big enough. And again, as we go into our top 4, while these are ranked in our top 8, that does not determine as far as just the variance of where people put it. All right, so here is our top 8 for Lindbergh. We went from 51 names to 8. So as of right now, Sandhill Crane had the most votes, then Ada Deer, then Jeffrey Clay Erlinger, then Rahua Firefly, then Song Q, then Willa Beatrice Brown. Next was Northland Elementary, and then our 8th was Alfred M. Gorman. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm also going to drop it into the chat.
I think it's Gorham, isn't it? Not Gorman?
Thank you. Probably. Thank you. It's one of those names where you hear folks pronounce things differently depending on just, yeah. All right, so with that, we're now into our second round of discussion. And so what this has looked like last night was there were folks who, based on their lived experience from their identity, from their community, just spoke to the top 8 and really thinking through not telling anyone how to vote, not revealing their vote, but helping us to delineate down to potentially, well, we're definitely going to go to a top 4 and then we'll talk from there. And so what this looked like was there were school-based folks who were, elaborating more on a name to help with the decision making, and then folks also from their context within their community. All right, Chair?
Sure, thank you. So I don't know who's disappointed, who's excited. I'm just excited that we're moving along. But I open up the floor to any comments. Was there actual lobbying done last night, Chelsea? Or is that like allowed or not? Or was it just discussion?
So there were folks who definitely said, based on my lived experience in our community and or my experience as a parent, as an alum, as a grandparent, as a taxpayer, as an employee, I do have an affinity towards this name or these names and thinking about what could be representative, knowing that we're also remaining objective still and taking in everyone's diverse viewpoints into consideration.
Okay. All right. So with that, I would say in this list of 8, I note that 3 are not people. So we have whether you are we were thinking about respecting those who asked that it not be people, or whether those were just your choices, whatever. But so we had 3 that are not people and 5 that were. And I note that ours do not line up with the weight of the public comments. So I'm glad that everybody took the whole package into consideration. Other comments that people want to share, either in their own voting or preferences or observations about these 8? Or you're just ready to go to the 4 and get on with your day? Just want to give space for that.
I just want to say one thing about the many comments about not naming after people. And I apologize, I did come tardy today, so I don't know if you all talked about this already. But the policy of the school district is not that we don't name after people. And until such time that policy is changed, I feel that we should not be taking those comments under advisement, because that is not the guidance that we've gotten for what our job is. Our job is not to be not naming after people. Maybe I shouldn't say not taking it under advisement. That doesn't sound great. Of course, we should be seeking to have deep understanding of this concern. But without guidance from the school district that something's changed about their guidance for us, this makes me skittish that we don't have, that it seems like it's like a little bit messy. And so I'm trying to make order of this in my own mind. And the thing that I'm looking to is that the district has not changed their guidance for us about what the naming conventions are for schools. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
And so, Shahana, what I can add from the district perspective, and again, we are glad that you were able to hop in when you could. And so, Tiffany had a great question as far as how many folks actually said they did not want a name, in just thinking about the full amount of comments. And so, out of 355 submitted comments through my form,
Yeah, I was
92.
here for that. I
Oh, got
heard.
it. Great. Okay. And
Yep.
then definitely hear you. We also talked about in a previous meeting how there was even a board member Pearson said we shouldn't name them after people. However, this is our policy. And the policy has not changed even with a revoting and revamping process last spring. And I think the weight that it could still be weighed in as far as what Betsy already lifted from this list is that you all do have a great variance of names and also geographic concept virtues. And so that does look like a healthy mix, but agreed, Johanna, definitely hearing that. And it's something that I want to debrief more with our board secretary. Robert, I see your hand is raised and I do want to flag for everyone. It is 10:45. I'll stay on as long as we need. And just noting that Angie does have a hard stop at 11.
Yeah, thank you. I also appreciate what Shana was just saying and have been thinking about that as well. I will say I feel differently in that I feel like our guidance was we had to submit two people and now we don't. So I'm still grappling with that and how it's affecting my voting and nomination. And looking at our list, things that I continue to be concerned about that I think I mentioned before about Willa Beatrice Brown. After reading again, I didn't see a very clear connection to Madison, which is part of our rubric. Song Kyu did have experience working as a Christian missionary, which I have some critical feelings about. And Jeffrey Clay Erlinger, something we haven't talked about as much, but Lindbergh is, or our school is a diverse community, and there are students who identify as Muslims or family members who identify as Muslims. And I think going to a school named after a person who identifies as Jewish might bring up feelings for them as well. So I just wanted to lift that as a person who was raised Jewish and who's worked alongside Muslims and people who identify as Palestinian.
Wow. That's heavy, Robert. I mean, well, I'll just let it go as that. Okay. Any other comments or observations? Angie? Oh, I'm sorry. Thought I saw your lips moving. No. Okay.
I was going to mention, I was particularly moved by some of the comments for Ada Deer, and I know obviously many people were since it came up for all three schools. And also the Dr. William Schwab's comments and how extensive these people were in, or how broad they were in telling us who each of these, well, it was these two people in particular with the public comments. And they really presented a very broad picture of these individuals that moved me.
I'd like to say something about the last comment. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mary, you raised your hand. I'll raise mine too. Go ahead.
Mary and then Sean.
Yeah, as a volunteer at Lindbergh, I know how I voted and I won't say, but there's a diverse community there. That's why I voted the way I did. And just because of all the diversity, I think we should pay good attention to what is said about the people and what we know about them. So that's all. Just that there's a diverse community and we should take that into consideration when we're doing our votes. There. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Shahana? Mary, you can take your hand down.
I'd just like to say that among my Muslim and Palestinian friends, associates, colleagues, there's a very strong distinction that's being made, especially in this political moment, between Jews and the state of Israel. And my Muslim and Palestinian folks in my corner of the communities where I do my thing are very strong on making that distinction today. I don't recall discussion about Jeff Erlanger and anything about Israel. And again, we are renaming this school because the Lindbergh was a Nazi. So we need to reach for depth and nuance and understanding. And I think that if this is the state of our community, that this is where we're at, then I just want to make a very strong and urgent plea to the school district to be doing more and doing better to include Jews and anti-Semitism in our narrative about our justice issues and who we are about as a diverse community, to be doing more to support coalition building and the folks who are doing that work. I know we're short on time, but as you see, I feel compelled to share on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on the 8 that we have? Oh, I see Alfred Gorham went off the list and Yahara Heights went on. Chelsea, did you want to explain that?
Yes, there was an error. So I just put in the chat. It is not Alfred M. Gorham. It is Yahira Heights. So they are the top 8.
Okay. So now we have 4 that are not 4 names and 4 places, sites. Any other discussion? I don't want to, I'm, don't want to rush you. On the other hand, we have 9 minutes till we lose 2 people.
And so what this looked like last night, because not everyone was able to stay on either when we went over, was that we at least got to our vote of our top 4. And then those who went off were willing to say that they trusted their committee members as far as what the final decision would be. Just knowing that this brings robust conversation.
Okay. Last round for any comments. Okay, seeing none, hearing none. Chelsea, please put the new form in there. Angie, thank you. You have a few more minutes, but I know that Fred has to go right at 11. So we'll move on to the top 4. I assume this will take Chelsea a few minutes less this time since she's not doing 8. She's only doing 4. And then we'll come back and have any final discussion about that. And then we will wrap up this day and this meeting. And just for those of you who do have to jump off, a reminder that this is indeed our last meeting. A reminder about talking to the press to refer any any press questions to either Chelsea or me. And that the Board of Education, will be voting on this on August 24th on all 3 schools. Beginning at 6 o'clock, you'll be getting messages that you did already that you can appear in person. I mean, you can watch, or I wouldn't expect you to speak because we speak as United Voice. But any friends or anybody else, there'll be, like every board meeting, will be a chance for people to come and make comments as well. And with our friend Sabine here helping us get the word out and other people in the comms department at the school district, it should be a long meeting, so bring snacks. Okay, with that, here we go. Top 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you stop. Thank
and then
you.
Fred, go ahead and go back in your Google Doc. And then that's where you'll be able to send me or just type in your top 4, and then I'll be able to fill out the form for you.
Okay, and you can go off video if you want, but please stay close to your computer because probably won't take a full 10 minutes to do this.
Fred and Tracy, I just re-emailed it to you if you're having a hard time finding it, so it'll pop up at the top of your inbox. so it should be quicker to find. And Fred, I'm not seeing you in the doc. So what I'm going to do, Fred, go to your chat and I just linked the doc right in the chat. You should be able to click right there in the chat to your doc to put in your 4 votes. And Fred, if you're trying to speak with me, you are muted. I can unmute you. You're still muted if you and Tracy are speaking with me. You
Otherwise,
have to.
you can just send
Okay,
it
so
with your 1, 2, 3, 4,
yeah.
because it is 10:57.
Yeah. Fred, or you can just email me your top 4 if you're not able to get in the Google Doc. If you just want to do that, that's fine.
1, 2, 3, 4. And you're still muted.
All right, and so as Fred and Tracy are working on that, I do have the scores for I have Shahana's, Angie, Cynthia, Tiffany, Robert, Betsy, Marianne, Nan, and Fred. Oh, I do have Fred's. Okay, great. So Fred was able to get in.
Okay.
All right. And so I do have everyone's scores in. So I'm gonna do a 5-minute timer. Hopefully I can get this done quickly in 5 minutes for us or less. So just stay near. My goal is to get it done in less. Betsy, I'm gonna start on the spreadsheet and then I'll share it with you. I feel like this is the Powerball right now for us, right? Make sure you go out and get your ticket, y'all. We got good luck because we've made it through. All right, Betsy, spreadsheet's coming your way. Please check my math.
You are a speedy girl.
Trying to be.
Okay.
So Betsy, we do have a tiebreaker for the first one. And
Okay.
so per the rules, it would be those that received the most first choice votes for number one.
Okay.
Even though the rankings are not going to matter for what we submit to the board at this time.
Okay.
So this would be, whoops.
And do we have a tiebreaker in the first choice or in the second, third, or fourth?
Right now in the first choice, and then let me double check. And then also in the fourth choice, so I'll be going with the top scores for that one as well. And that would be there. And most number one choices then from there. Okay, so Betsy, if you look under the ranking,
I don't
here
have
is where we landed. If you look at column row 13, row 13.
the one that you already sent me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I only see a row 10.
Scroll down a little bit, or maybe refresh.
I only have one email, one Excel spreadsheet from you, and it only has 10 lines.
Okay, click refresh and see what happens because I'm looking at it. It should go all the way down to 13. You should see row 11 filled out and then also row 13.
I
And
am
while you're looking at that, I'm going to work on the list.
okay. Okay.
And then as a reminder to everyone, this is just going to be in alphabetical order until I check in with our board secretary.
Nope, I still just have 10.
All right, let me reshare the document with you.
Okay. I'm good though. You're trustworthy. You can.
Oh yeah, but I still want you to double check my math, please.
Okay.
It's good to have checks and balances. Too important of a decision just for it to rest on me. All right. Top four are on its way. Thank you, everyone.
Sorry, babe, I just see 10. But I don't see any math. I just see the first choice, second. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at round 2 result.
Go to form, yep, go to form 2 results.
Yeah, round 2 results. Still just line 15. Okay. Yeah, but I can't see the top two. Know what those are. And you
So
used
go down to row 13,
uh-huh.
and then those are the top 4.
Okay, but I can't see the names.
Let me freeze the top column for you.
I see it now. Okay.
I'm gonna freeze up to row 1, and then when you scroll down, it should be easier for you to see now.
I got it now.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let me just finish putting these in alphabetical order, everybody. I know we're on the way on the edge of our seats.
Yeah. All right. You may announce them. Very close between 2 and 3.
Yep. Just double checking I don't have an error on this list. Thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you to your employers for their patience and or your families as you're on vacation. All right, or your next meeting. All right, everybody, here are our top 4 in alphabetical order. And here comes the unveiling.
Bum,
Our
bum.
top 4 in alphabetical order, we have Ada Deer, Jeffrey Clay Erlinger, Sandhill Crane, and Willa Beatrice Brown. I'll also drop them in the chat.
All right, I can confirm to you that I reviewed Chelsea's work and the numbers, and I believe them to be accurate. So I'd like a motion and a second to, and then we will have some discussion before we finalize these as being going to the board. Again, in alpha order, Ada Deer, Jeffrey Clay Erlinger, Sandhill Crane, Willa Beatrice Brown. Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Okay,
And then
it's moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Cynthia. Okay, any discussion? Deer, Erlinger, Brown, and Sandhill.
And so for clarification, the discussion is if you want all 4 to go to the board or if you want it to be 3 or 2.
Yeah.
I know people are probably wondering where is this in the ranking of Alvium? And so I'm going to be providing the rankings after Chavez. So Chavez is Monday morning. And so once I have all 3 schools and I see where the overlap is, then I'm going to be sharing the rankings of any of those overlaps with the entire committee.
Okay. And just for everybody's recollection, Ada Deer and Jeffrey Erlinger are on the Alvium list as well. But they haven't got Willa Beatrice Brown or Sandhill. Any other discussion? I see
A
some.
clarifying question.
Robert's hand is raised. Yes, Robert?
So the order that was provided was alphabetical. Can you provide the ranked order?
No.
So I'm not providing the rank order at this time because ultimately it's the board's decision. And so I'm working with the board secretary, as I'd mentioned earlier. If we were to rank our top 1, that essentially would take the vote away from the board. And so that's something that I'm double checking on, and then I'll update everybody.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I agree with that interpretation, Chelsea, but more she's checking on the history because Gail and I both recall not betting my firstborn child on it. But although some days, but anyway, we remember that when the 4 names or however many names went to the board for renaming Memorial, Madison Memorial, and Jefferson, we remember that the names were given with a rank of what the preference of the committee was. And I'm also remembering just as foggily that the board went with their top choice. But I don't know whether the board's policy has changed or not. And so rather than trying to put it back in the bag, once it's been out, Chelsea's going to check. If it is okay to do it and to do it even before Chavez votes, she will let us know immediately when she gets confirmation or clarification on that. If they say, well, you can let everybody know, but not until after Chavez has voted, then she'll release them. Not then. If she's told, no, just give them your 4 names in alpha order, by last name, by first name, by middle name, she'll do that. But we're erring on the side of caution by not sharing those rankings right now.
And for clarification, so if I'm able to share, it will be after Chavez, because in fairness to LVM, they weren't able to see what other folks were doing with shared names too. And I don't want to influence the Chavez vote if they saw the rankings and then all of a sudden there's this pressure to all of a sudden put a name somewhere else, just trying to keep the process as clean as possible. And so, yes, completely agree that why you all want the rankings to be shared with the board. And I'll use another example. So technically, with how I did the tallies, there are ones that rise to the top based on how the public feels that they have ranked it, regardless of us talking about we have to take everything into consideration. And still wanting you all to have the process as far as just because this one got the most amount of comments doesn't necessarily mean that it's our top selection, right? So, all right.
And I think, we have to be prepared as members of the committee and certainly in the school district. People are going to say, Willa Beatrice Brown, how many people commented on her? How many votes were there for that? That wasn't our criteria. That was one factor. It wasn't, a beauty pageant of who had the best campaign or whatever of doing that. It was based on our consideration of all of the factors that Chelsea had mentioned. And we, depending on what our vote is in a minute, we will apparently be confirming that or not. Other comments? I don't see hands up. I'll pause for another 10 seconds. Okay. Then I'll call for a vote now. We have a duly made motion by Fred and a second by Cynthia to submit these 4 names to the school board without any ranking until we're told otherwise or asked to do otherwise. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I have a question before I'd like to vote to forward that. Will we be telling the board that we are presenting them in alphabetical order and not order of preference?
Yes, we will.
Yes.
Then I support that motion. Thank you.
And I've already informed of them at that. So I've informed the board secretary, and then, like I said, her and I are meeting ASAP to determine if rankings are allowable.
I would ask you, Chelsea, to put them in where there's names. I would put them in alphabetical order by the person's last name, not by their first name. Although I think it works out the same. Ada Deer is still before Jeff Erlinger, but Beatrice Brown would, like the person's last name is whatever. But again, be consistent and do whatever they ask of you.
Yes, and just and clarification for there. So what I have found in dealing with our public and supporting different levels of comprehension, that's why I've always started just with that first letter, regardless if it was a name or not, and helping our community to be able to decipher between them as well. So got it. Thank you.
Sure. I think that's my bias when your last name is Abramson, you're first on every list. So, I'm just pushing for that. Okay. All right. We've been, the motion duly made, seconded, and voted. Oh, wait. Oh, I guess we didn't because we had one more question. Okay. Final vote on whether or not these are the 4 names that we submit in alphabetical order to the board without ranking. Those in favor, please show your sign of your hand.
Aye.
Okay, I see a unanimous vote there. Fred has left, but we still have a quorum. And so our work here is complete. I thank you. This has not been easy. It's like I said, this is the summer. You'll always remember summer of 2026 as Chelsea and the Lindbergh Renaming Committee. Gail, did you have a comment before we close?
Well, I purposely waited till the end, but I can't, my stomach hurts and I can't not comment. So I want to thank Shoshana for her comments. And I want to say that having a son-in-law, Palestinian son-in-law, who was first generation American, I want to say that never, never, never has he expressed any reservations about Jewish Americans and friends and colleagues. So I think it's clear, it's a slippery slope not to make a clear distinction between the country and American citizens. That's not what we're about. Shouldn't be what we're about. So I couldn't, I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to say anything, but I couldn't not. So my apologies.
Not at all. The vote's been taken. Your timing was fine. As chair, I didn't feel like I should say anything either, but I 100% agree with Shahana, and it's always an opportunity for us to learn.
And so I'll add both to Betsy and to Gail's comments. you all would have been free to say those things because you're a citizen of our community. And your lived experience is valid. So I think that's also important and it's on the record for the public to hear and consume, and then also for our board to take into consideration too when it comes to that. So thank you both. Betsy, I did have a couple of things for those who are still able to stay on that I do want to name in the meeting that's still on the agenda since this is recorded and folks can go back and watch it later. Is that okay that I proceed, Betsy?
Please do.
Okay, so as far as next steps, everyone, I'm towards halfway through page 8. I will be submitting the list and final package to the Board of Education at the latest Monday, possibly earlier as I get some answers to some questions. Monday, August 24th will be the vote. I am working on that process. I have a draft right now of what that's going to look like. I'll be working with the board secretary who's working with the board president. And then I'll, of course, be working with our amazing chairs like we do every Monday. They get to spend extra hours with me and making sure our process is setting everyone up for success and is clear to our community. As far as homework for you all, please continue to let folks know that they can continue to submit written statements and public comment. They can show up in person on the 24th to Doyle's Auditorium, or they can sign up because there is a hybrid option and they would be in through Zoom. You as committee members, we're welcome to have you join us in the auditorium on the 24th, or if you'd prefer to watch it, it will be live streamed on Zoom. It is not mandatory that you attend. I am going to check if we do need the chairs to attend because they've had a different role in this. I'm also flagging too that I'm giving the finalization package for our board to be able to have a full week to process. I think that's only fair to them. And then for them to also, if they have follow-up questions to our chair, to me, and making sure they have the best informed decision. And then also please continue to direct folks to our renaming websites. Our comms team has done a great job of getting things up within 48 hours and or making adjustments as soon as it's needed so that everyone is still aware of what's going on. My homework is to continue to update you all with any new information, which includes our board vote process as I finalize that with the board secretary, the board president, and our chairs. And then also the ultimate decision on if rankings will be presented to the board as we've discussed repeatedly. Chair, am I missing anything else?
No, that sounds great. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you to all. Your Wednesday mornings are free from here on in. And thanks for your attention. Thanks to especially to those of you who are balancing, as Chelsea said, vacations, work, Shahana, et cetera, et cetera. I will see some of you in person on the 24th, and I may just arrange an ice cream party for all of us to celebrate. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll make the motion.
Tiffany and her parrot moved. Rob seconds. And any discussion? All right. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
We're at a quorum. So be it. All right. Bless you all. Thank you all. And one final round of applause for Chelsea.
Oh, thank you all so much. It's been an honor. I'm so grateful. And it's 11:18, y'all. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. And I see the reporter has